Live from Atlanta, Georgia, it's the Zach Ballinger Show, where we help you find your direction through passion and purpose. My name is Zach Ballinger. I am your host. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We are streaming live via YouTube, so if you have any questions for me and my guests, pop them into the comment box, and we'll make sure to get them to them at the end of the show. As well, you guys can always email me before the show, zach@zachballinger.com, and we'll ask them to the guest or me when that show starts. Without further ado, Dawn, thank you so much for joining the show tonight.
Thank you, Zach. I'm really glad to be with you.
So I'll jump right in here. I just wanted to ask you, what's your exact title? What do you do career wise?
So, Zach, thank you. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Wooden Floor. The Wooden Floor is a creative youth development organization in Orange County, California. We provide young people the opportunity to dance, and we offer them academics with college and career readiness and social services. And our children come from low income communities. And since 2005, 100% of our students have graduated on time and have immediately enrolled in higher education. And so that's where my passion and purpose lie.
So let me get this straight because a lot of people ask this. So your actual job and the way you make a living is through a nonprofit or is running a nonprofit organization. Is that correct?
Yes. So a nonprofit, the difference in anything really, I always explain to people is that it's a business like anything, and except for we have a different tax ID in the way that we look at how we raise money. We raise money just as businesses do, but we receive donations either in grants or earned income. And as we do not pay taxes, but we do what we do is we offer the community a community benefit. And so, but we run like any business. So we have marketing, human resources, accounting, and operations. And in a nonprofit, operations is what is normally called program. And so in a nonprofit organization, that usually is what you would either provide a service into the community. And so it could be environmental concerns. It could be health and human service and helping others. It could also be making a difference in your world in any other kind of capacity.
So I find this career fascinating because a lot of people they think nonprofit, they think no profit, and they think, you can't make a living doing it, but a lot of people do make a good career out of because
Yes.
it's a passion that they do. Talk to me, how in the world did you start this organization? Did you found it yourself? How did you get involved with this?
So I can tell you two things is that, probably about 30 or 40 years ago, people would kind of just accidentally fall into the nonprofit sector. But today, actually, there's a lot of nonprofit management programs at the collegiate level. So a lot of students actually go into it today. A lot of young people in high school today really volunteer, and they find that they really want to have a career in making a difference in the lives of others. So there's actually nonprofit management careers. For myself, I actually started my first part of my career in business and management consulting, working in the high technology sector. And I had the opportunity to start a nonprofit, a trade association. And through that, I also volunteered in the community in education causes, and arts causes, and also health and human service causes. I served on board of directors when I was in my 20s. And because of that, it gave me this really great opportunity to give back. And so when I had an opportunity to really segue my career and make a difference into the world, I was able to bring my business strategies and what I wanted to do in the world and take it into the nonprofit sector because today it's really sophisticated in the way that we make a difference in the world. And really, we have to really talk a different language today in the world. And it is about, I call it today at the Wooden Floor, we're mission driven and business minded. So you lead with the heart, but you have to really think like business people.
And how long have you been the CEO at the Wooden Floor?
I've been at the Wooden Floor actually in January next year, 2021, I'll be there 12 years. I started out as our chief executive officer, and then I was promoted in 2009, and I was promoted in 2011 to co-CEO, and then in 2016 I became CEO. So I've been really CEO since 2011, and for me, I it really, for me, it's fulfilling something in that I really started out my career when I came out of college. I wanted to be a teacher and a principal. And when I explained earlier, I had all those ways I gave back to the community in arts, education, and health and human service. And so today at the Wooden Floor, I really feel I'm a teacher and a principal to 475 children that we work with each and every day after school. So my career actually has gone full circle, and I'm really living my life today, doing what I want to do.
Well, this might seem like a silly question for someone in your role, but what's the most fun thing about your job? What do you love about it? What's your passion?
Well, there's a but I don't even know where to start, but first it's the children, making a difference in the life of a young person and giving them a chance to live their full potential and letting them dream as big as they want to dream is just really there's really nothing better. And for us, we make a 10-year commitment to a child beginning in third grade, and they stay with us all the way through high school. So we get to know them and their parents over that journey, and all of our services are free of charge for our families. And so, because they are in high poverty centers of Orange County, they have just deep community needs. And so for me, I get to know what's happening on a deep level with them. And then secondly, I get to work with a great team of people. Our board of directors, our staff, and our supporters are just deeply committed and super compassionate to want to make a difference in this community of that we've created here at the Wooden Floor, that's really about service to our families and students. It's not a them and us community. It's really a we community that we're all in it together to win it. And for me, there's just no greater day that I have to just walk onto campus every day and just make a difference. And I've been at the Wooden Floor 12 years, but I really feel that I've just started in my career and at the Wooden Floor. And so I know I'm at the right place.
So awesome. Let's talk about something that sometimes people have a hard time answering. You have a very noble calling, but I'm sure there's always stress or challenges behind the scenes. What's one of the things people should know that's difficult to do in your position in a nonprofit organization, or something challenging?
Well, at the nonprofit sector, there's multiple stakeholders in a nonprofit, and I think those getting into a nonprofit career, I'm always approached by people that are looking to make career transitions, and they're looking to maybe move from the for-profit to the nonprofit sector. And it is a different way that we run in the sense of how we make decisions, and it's a very collaborative kind of decision-making process, and you have to be really okay with having multiple stakeholders and helping you make those decisions. And we work really collaboratively. And so some people may think we make decisions a little bit slower, but we really don't make them slow. We make them slow to go fast at the Wooden Floor. So we may take a little bit of time, but we really do them thoughtfully and make sure that they're really tying to mission and we're not making a mistake. And because in the nonprofit sector, you really don't have that same risk type of capital to make something, because you have so much at stake with those you serve, either in resources or you don't want to make a stake fundamentally with the organization. And so it's not that you're risk averse, but you just have to be a little bit more careful. And so that's one of the things that I always talk to people about, that you just have to be a little bit maybe a little bit more patient. But if you want to make a difference, it's really a great place to be.
Awesome. And, so I'm sure this is happening right now. I just wrote a book on it. Don't Be a Zombie: How to Find a Career You Love. There's people out there listening that are not happy in their jobs. They're going to time clock. They dread Mondays, and they're saying, "Oh God, thank God for Friday." They're miserable in their job, and I try to get them to change that. What if somebody has this itch to do something in nonprofit or change their career path? What advice would you give them to begin this journey?
To be into the nonprofit or just to change their job in general?
Yeah, just to change, like just for the nonprofit side. So let's say somebody's in a for-profit job. They might be a tech analyst at a
Great.
company, and they're ready to do something
Just
for a
something
greater
different.
purpose. Yeah.
Right. So I get that question a lot because people know my story, like I said, coming from the for-profit, and I'm actually serve on a couple boards in Orange County, and I work with a lot of business in the business community. And so one of the things I ask them is, what is your passion and purpose, right? So I believe that you can be in the tech sector, and what do you love, right? And so you don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? You don't have to quit your job, your day job. So then I ask, like, where do you want to serve? Maybe it's serving as a board member somewhere. Maybe it's a skill-based volunteer. Maybe you could help a nonprofit with their website redesign, or maybe you could help with marketing or strategy, or everybody doesn't always think through that. They think it's mainly just service work, like, with we need service working volunteers. But today, really, skill-based volunteers is really where is at today in volunteering. How do you take someone with Zach in your background and bring it to that other nonprofit and really help them? Maybe it's only for a day or two. Maybe it's not a lifetime commitment to that nonprofit. We've recently brought an organization, PIMCO. It's a major supporter of the wooden floor. We brought them in for a one-day marathon day to help us work through some data metrics on how we wanted to look at our data moving forward and our strategy. And just having a 4-hour session with some executives from PIMCO really has made a difference in our work. And so I think just looking at that, and then if they really want to go deeper at maybe leaving their job, is exploring what do you love? Like, not
Don, that's great advice that you gave as far as transitioning. I always recommend for entry level professionals or students, get involved in your community now. You don't
yes,
have to just jump over to a full time job. Something that I do that I have a similar story is I volunteer at the Covenant House and I teach
yes,
life skills classes on job preparation, interviews, resumes, and so I enjoy that in my few times that I do that a year, but it's something that, I have a greater vision over my life in a different area. But I
right,
still volunteer, and that's what you said to do is basically get your feet wet first,
yes,
start an organization. And a lot of these organizations need people that know how to build a resume, know how to build an app, or know how to do construction. So there's multiple ways to get involved. So I definitely agree with your advice there. I wanted to ask you, I took some notes on your nonprofit organization, which I think is phenomenal, the Wooden Floor. Um, Tell me more about it. So, are you teaching students to dance? How do they get involved? What are you exactly doing for these kids?
sure. So the Wooden Floor is we say we're a creative youth development organization. So we're not using dance as a medium, as just a pure technique as a traditional dance organization or a dance studio. We're not a dance studio. We use the power of dance to help students learn to communicate, collaborate, and innovate, which helps them to develop those 21st century skills that are helping develop into great leaders and develop into great humans that are going to take on the world and become that future workforce that we love, and become great people into our world and make a difference, right? And so we use an approach that is grounded in somatics, which really focuses on a mind, body, spirit of a child, and really challenges the child to bring their own mind to the dance making. So we bring a co-creation process to it, where we ask the student, what do they want to do? What's going on in their life at home? How does that affect their movement? What do they want to contribute to the class? And how are they through movement expressing themselves, especially during COVID right now? It really has made such a difference to our students. They're all dancing from home right now. And so in their homes, they actually are making movement in their homes, just like they would in the dance studio. So we offer, from a process standpoint, they start with us in third grade. They take progressively more difficult classes, both in ballet and modern. They take between 3 to 4 classes a day, or I mean a week, so sequentially over a 10-year period. They also are offered master classes. It progressively gets more difficult. And then they also perform in an annual concert and other performance opportunities that we have. And then we also offer them academics, either before or after their classes, in tutoring. And then any student under 2.0 is in mandatory tutoring. Our all-campus GPA, though, is 3.2 right now. And we're super proud of that, especially during COVID. And we're watching that really closely to make sure our students don't go backwards during distance learning. And then we also offer them college and career readiness services. So as they progress, beginning in sixth grade, we offer them classes in college and career readiness, and also when they get into high school, ACT prep, SAT prep. Now today, that's not as needed because the colleges aren't requiring it, but some students still want to take it. We offer that free of charge. We also offer them essay writing, applying for college, weighing all their financial aid packages. And at the end of the day, we also support them with all the wraparound services around mental health, crisis counseling, intervention for them and their families. Because they come from low income communities, it's really important that we really bolster the family and the child. And we're seeing with COVID, especially, there's going to be a lot of mental health challenges that are coming out from this. And so it's really important for us to help the child and the family really sustain during this time and help them. So the model really is about really helping the child dream as big as possible, set their vision for themselves. And our tagline is, "From here, you can step anywhere." We say that to the child. And like I said earlier, 100% of our children have graduated on time and immediately enrolled in higher education since 2005. And we hope we can keep that record going even amidst COVID, because that's really be a record to achieve. We're hoping that's possible. And right now we have about 130 alumni in colleges and universities around the country, and of which, since '05, over 52% of our alumni have graduated with a bachelor's or master's degree. That's about 9 to 13% of their socioeconomic peers graduate with a bachelor's degree. So we feel that our numbers are proving itself effective. And we serve predominantly 90% of our graduates are Latino.
Wow, just incredible work. Hats off to you and your organization. Another question I had for you: what does a typical day look like in your shoes? I know since the pandemic, it's kind of hard for some people to answer that question, but like if you were running a nonprofit, what does it look like the time you get out of bed, the time you go to bed?
Nothing's changed for me. I tell that all the time. All it's different is I'm here on Zoom and in my home. I am so busy. I start off my day, phone calls with internally with staff meetings, checking in. I meet with our board members probably a couple times a week, different types of meetings we have. Very involved in the community. I sit on 4 boards outside of the wooden floor that I represent the wooden floor in. I'm also officers in a couple of those boards. And then I also represent us in other activities that represent our program. So I'm on the Latino Education Attainment Committee of the Orange County Business Council. Try to keep myself in those community conversations. And also today I'm leading under the pandemic. I'm also leading 2 really important committees: a mental health task force for the city of Santa Ana. We're looking at youth mental health. We were actually starting that in 2018 before COVID. And now with COVID, we're looking at the long-term implications of mental health challenges with children post-pandemic. And then I'm also leading a group of CEOs in the nonprofit sector. We actually came together during COVID hit in March. And I said, I want all my best buddies to come together and talk. And it turned out that 8 people has now turned into 130 to come together, about 30 to 35 every other week. And different people show up at different topics, and we just convene to talk about like how we're strategizing, managing change, pivoting, adapting around COVID, all the COVID regulations, all the changes. So I lead a lot of those different discussions in the community. So, and then fundraising. So internally to fundraising, I'm a major fundraiser as well. So I really look at myself as the key to making sure that our key supporters are really connected to the mission and the story. So especially right now during the holidays, I have been on the phone almost every day or email, talking to our supporters, making sure they are connecting to our videos and our messaging and in really important ways, and just That's what I love. I mean, I've been, like I said, our supporters have become good friends to me too, and just checking in on them. And some of our supporters are getting older, and so for me, I've seen them age over time, and I worry about them like I would my own grandparents. And so, for me, it's just a real special place. The wooden floor really gets in your heart once you really get to know it.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for that. And I did want to get to some of these questions that I had. So, one of the questions that comes in, I work at a nonprofit right now. Any tips for grant writing?
So actually, thank you. We are actually very successful at grant writing. So, I say the one thing that I learned about grant writing is it's really around strategy. A lot of people will write one grant template for everything and send it out. You really have to understand the other side of the grant, the grantor. What are they looking for? Who are they on the other side? Who you're applying to? What are their strategies? What are they looking to accomplish? And then try to mirror that to your grant. A lot of times that's what we're really complimented on at the wooden floor is that we don't take a cookie cutter approach to grant making. We really try to listen to what the grantor wants to accomplish and try to then write the grant. Or mind you, we do have some kind of boilerplate to what we want to accomplish, but we really try to listen and learn. And then secondly, we really try to steward that relationship, either both from what you call cultivation of getting to know them, and may take a couple years to actually find to develop that relationship. It may not take happen overnight, but once you do, it's actually once you do get that first grant, is treat that grantor like they are an individual donor. Make sure they're very close to you. Send them notes. Send them handouts, send them emails regularly, get to know them. They'll really appreciate it. That real personal touch will really make a difference.
Great advice. And the next question comes in. It looks like a college student. They said that their university doesn't offer the type of degree that you stated for a nonprofit. What other degree fields would you recommend that they could go into?
I Some of our students that we hire from are in sociology, psychology, health and human services. We also hire degrees in different types of social justice causes. A lot of different universities have different social justice causes. Um, but we find that the ones that really, obviously, the arts, we have some dance majors, music majors as well. What we find is liberal studies degrees really do well also in the art, in a nonprofit career because they have a compassionate heart as well. But we also find that business majors, we've also hired some business majors as well who also just lean with that compassionate heart, for making a difference.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for helping us answer some of those questions. For those of you that want to support this organization or want to learn more about this organization, Don, where can they find out? And I'll make sure to link to your links, but where's the easiest place they can go to follow your work?
Thewoodenfloor.org is the best place to go because we have this great mobile website that we just updated a few months ago, and that's the best place to go. It has a full explanation of what we do, and one thing I didn't talk about earlier too is we're also are scaling our model nationally. Our first licensed partner is in Washington D.C., so we are looking to expand our reach across the nation. So if anyone's out there hearing this and they would like to talk to us about, we are looking for established youth development organizations, but if they're looking to develop relationships, we'd love to talk to them.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Dawn, you're doing great work. This has been phenomenally helpful, not only for my audience from a career development side, but also the passion and purpose finding side as well. So thank you for your time. We do appreciate it. We know you're very busy and we wish you the best and happy holidays.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, Zach. It was a great opportunity to be with you. Happy holidays too.